Hello everybody, welcome to Meteorologist without credentials. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is in the part of the world that you're in. We will be doing a live forecast today on the tropical cyclones around the world. This website that I'm using here is showing the wind speeds throughout the world. We will be referring to this to see current wind speeds and areas. Another website that I use, this website is earth.noschool.net. We will be using the nhc.noaa.gov website, the official National Hurricane Center. We will be using wonderground.com. We might be referring to this Wikipedia article with the category wind speeds. We will be using this wind speed converter so that way everyone can see the wind speeds in the measurement system that they use. And then we will be using tropicaltidbits.com to forecast the storms. One thing that you should know is by the time you watch this, or even if you're watching this now, the forecast may have changed. As you see right now, the computer is updating. These have loaded, these have not. So we are going to actually be going to the last computer model update. So some of the information may have changed in the forecast. So please be sure to check with the official weather services for up-to-date information. I am not a professional meteorologist, as the title of this suggests, meteorologist without credentials. I'm not a professional, so information that I provide should be confirmed by personal research from official sources. I went over the websites that I'm using. If you have any questions, I will be looking in the comments using my phone. And as always, whether severe or mild weather is in your area, always stay safe and stay updated. So let me go into my phone, pull up the live stream on my phone, and if anyone is in the comments, as always, whether severe or mild weather is in your area. Yep, you might have heard my phone. So if anyone is in the if anyone is watching currently, you can feel free to leave a comment so that I know that you're here. If you're watching this later, you can give a comment to let me know that you are here, and that would be great as well. So we are going to go over the different regions. So the first thing we're going to do is go to regions, and we're going to look at the maps under tropics. We're going to look first we're going to look in the North Atlantic. The one we're going to look at under lower dynamics, Z700 Vort and wind. I'm showing you how I do this so that way you guys will be able to look at these storms for yourselves, look at models for yourself, and see what to expect. We're going to look over here. This one is showing rotation in the atmosphere, which is very important when forecasting a hurricane. There is something that is going to appear over here, but we're not going to focus on that just yet. We're going to start by focusing on the Atlantic over here and see if anything is going to develop and see what the chances are for any tropical cyclones. So let's take a look at this. Press play on the cycle. So you see here, this is the hurricane that I was talking about before, the tropical cyclone that might develop. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's how you can tell a tropical cyclone in this area. Look for rotation in the atmosphere that's concentrated. So over here, let me go back. You see this is a clear tropical cyclone, something stronger. We're going to get back to that in a minute. But one thing that we have to look at in the Atlantic, it's not very strong, but it is present. You see a little bit of rotation over here. It's not as strong clearly as the one that was over here. Probably not a hurricane. But when you have rotation over water, especially in this part of the world, you want to watch for any possible tropical cyclones to develop because the model may change, especially going this far in advance. It's very possible for those for this to change. Let me see, I believe there was one map. Let's see, is this it? I have to look for it. Yes, I believe so. Is there one over here? No. Okay. So this is another one that shows rotation. I thought there was another one that I used before. Ah, yes, this one over here. This is another one that shows rotation, which I will show you over here. You see the closer the bars are together, the stronger rotation. The reason why we look for rotation and low pressures that are together is because tropical cyclones, such as hurricanes, tropical storms, typhoons, they're rotating systems. So we want to look at where the rotation is to get an idea of where they might form. So we see here again, there's rotation in the Atlantic. Let's take a look at that a little bit closer. So it looks like the strongest rotation. Let's look at the millibars. This is at its lowest point over here. The lower the pressure, the stronger the storm general. So we see here, let's go to precip. Is there storms over it? Yes. Let's see. Humidity. How does that look? That's another factor. So we have humidity over to the east of the low pressure. A little bit of dry air to the west. That's a good thing. That helps to keep the storm from developing too much. Again, this is 360 hours from now. So the chances that this is going to change is extremely high. So we'll have to get back to the storm later. Let's check the wind speeds forecasted. You see some greens and some red. So that would be 34, maybe 52. So let's see. 34 knots would be equal to 39 miles an hour. If it was 52, that would be 59 miles an hour. So it's possible. It's too early to tell. Way too early to tell. And again, there's a new model uploading now, so this is likely changed already. But it will likely change some more because it's very far out in advance. But we have to watch in the Caribbean to see if something will develop in the next 2 weeks. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to stay on this storm any longer. There's nothing else here. So let's now go into regions. Let's take a closer look this way. Yeah, possible, even if it doesn't develop. It is showing a lot of rain and wind. So possible tropical storm conditions. Maybe not technically a tropical storm. Maybe it will be. We'll have to wait to find out. But anywhere in the Caribbean here, in these areas, we need to watch for the possibility of tropical storm conditions within the next 2 weeks. It's possible. Again, we'll have to come back to that and see over the coming weeks and days. We're not going to bother with the Eastern Atlantic. There wasn't really anything there. Let's check the Western Pacific. Again, we're going to go into the Z700, go back to the present, and we're going to click play. See if we see anything of noteworthy rotation. Generally, during this time of year, we will check 40 north and lower, down to about here. Between this range is generally where tropical cyclones will form. So that's where we want to watch for any possible rotation. I didn't notice anything, but I was talking, so I may have missed it, so I'm going to go through it one more time, see if there's anything. I'm not really seeing anything noteworthy, so that's good. Okay, so that's good. It looks like it'll be clear. The model is saying for the next 2 weeks, but again, that's likely to change. It may change with the next model. Do your own research. If local weather services are saying the storm is coming, don't take my word for it. Follow what they say. If I'm forecasting a storm and they're saying no, it's not going to happen, then do your own research and see whether or not what actions you want to take to prepare. Warnings should be taken a little bit more seriously because loss of property, loss of life is possible in these storms. But as of now, it doesn't seem like anything. I would say we're safe for at least the next 48 hours, maybe 72 hours. It's not showing anything for the rest of this time here, but that could change, especially as we're heading into the warmer months. So, yeah, so for the next 72 hours, this area seems safe, and we'll have to see if anything comes up on the forecast in the next 2 weeks. But as of right now, it doesn't seem that way. Alright, let's now see the Central Pacific. We're at 0. Okay. So now let's see. Anything going to develop here? Speed this up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. Again, you want to check from here to here. And this part here we will check in another update when we get down to that part. Yeah, that we'll definitely need to take a look at. Oh wait, no, that already happened. That was at the beginning. Or in the past, really. But we'll take a look at that as well. See what happened there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the Central Pacific. That's good. But again, I'm going to say that we're probably safe for the next 72, maybe 96 hours at least. And then from then on, we'll have to wait and see if the models change. As it stands right now, I don't think it's going to change, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. We didn't see anything suspicious on the radar, forecasted radar that is, in this area. So we're probably safe for at least the next 96 hours. Probably safe for the next 2 weeks, but that could change. It has happened before where it has changed. So let's now check the Eastern Pacific. So this is where we need to keep watch because there is a storm here that I am watching. So and that's this rotation here. It's not very strong now, but as you saw when we looked at the Atlantic, it's expected to develop. This is a pretty strong rotation signature over here. Definitely something going to develop. This is something that you might have seen when I was looking at the National Hurricane Center forecast. And we will actually jump over there, just seeing if anything else is forecast to develop in the next 2 weeks. No. Okay. So I'm not going to give my own estimates on the chances of this developing, but let's check the officials. So we have over here, this is the system over here that they are watching. Let's click on it, get a closer view. And it says here, a broad area of low pressure is located a few hundred miles south of El Salvador. Shower and thunderstorm activity is showing signs of organization, and the environmental conditions are expected to be favorable for tropical depression to form during the next day or so. The low pressure is forecast to move slowly toward the west-northwest or northwest, remaining well offshore of the coast of Central America and southeastern Mexico through at least Thursday. The next special tropical weather outlook on the system will be issued by 12 p.m. PDT Tuesday. So that's today. It should be up very soon, the latest forecast. Formation chance through the next 48 hours is 70%, and the next 5 days is 90%. So as we see here, at least until Thursday, it's likely to stay offshore. But from then on, it says that it will remain off at least until Thursday. And as we can see here, let's go back to the model. Let's check the wind speeds. Actually, we can check specifically the system over here, Invest 91P. So we'll take a closer look at it from there. So as of right now, it is as of right now, we have the wind speed on the low end forecast, which is the MSLP and 10 meter wind. Max wind speed 37.8. So let's go here, 37.8, and I'm gonna go through this as if I was doing my forecast on the Meteorologist Without Credentials Facebook page. So yeah. So the miles per hour is 43.5. Because it's the low end forecast, this would be lowered to 40 miles per hour. So 40 miles per hour would put it at a low end tropical storm on the low end forecast. The high end forecast, 44.8. Let's see. 51.6, this is the high end, so I'll round it up to 55. So 55 would put it at still a tropical storm. So right now, it is not a tropical cyclone yet, but if it was a tropical storm, if it was a tropical cyclone, it would be listed as a tropical storm. The wind speeds are of a tropical storm. Oh, hold on. Are you guys still viewing? If anyone's here, please comment. It says something went wrong on my phone. Let me see. If anyone's here, please comment that you're here. Okay, it looks like it's back up on my phone. Okay. So, anyways, I'm going to go back to that. So, if it was a tropical cyclone, right now it'd be listed as a tropical storm. In the next update, it might be a tropical storm. We'll have to wait and see. They said on their thing that it would possibly become a tropical depression, which would put at wind speeds under 39 miles an hour. But we'll have to wait and see what they say. Again, they are the professionals. I am not. I am reading just one model. There are many models that they look at and they use to determine what the strength will probably be. I used the GFS model. There are many different models that these real meteorologists have access to, so they have more accurate information than I do. So please, especially when I say that there's not going to be a storm and they say, no, there's going to be a storm, follow their advice. If I say there is going to be a storm and they say, probably not going to be a storm, well, then you have to do your own research for yourself to see what is likely. Never let your guard down, even when the officials say there's no storm coming. You should always have a plan ready just in case, because they have been wrong before. And it's based off computer models. Any computer glitch could throw the entire forecast off. So do your own research. Always have a plan ready in case a storm does happen unexpectedly. And always keep an eye on these storms. So the next one, 24 hours from now, 27.5. Let's go there. 27.5. Definitely weaker. 31.6. I'd be rounding this down, so 30. So 30 would put it at a tropical depression on the low end forecast. Let's see if the high end forecast has anything. 30.6. So let's do that. 30.6. This is the high end forecast, so I'll be rounding up. It's at 35, so I'm going to leave it at 35 for simplicity. 35, so between 30 and 35 mile per hour winds. That puts it at a tropical depression if it is a tropical cyclone within the next 24 hours. Let's look at 48 hours from now. 10 meter wind, 23.8. 27.4. It's the low end, round down to 25. So seeing a weakening trend over the next 2 days. Oh, what did I do? Now let's check the high end forecast. Wait, what am I doing? Okay. 28.1. Not very different. Let's see. 28.1. And that puts us at 32. It's the high end, so round up to 35. So between 25 and 35 miles an hour. Within the next 48 hours is what's forecasted by the GFS model that was forecasted earlier. Again, there is a new model run that's loading now, so this has likely changed. Now let's go to 72 hours. 16.8, even lower. So this is a good trend. 16.8. We're going to see if it stays that way. 19.3. So round that down to 15 miles an hour. That would not likely a tropical cyclone. If it is, it's a very weak tropical depression. And yeah, the rotation is a little bit better, but the wind speed is still weak. 14.2. Actually, the high end is lower than the low end. So in this case, I will be using this one as the high end and this one as the low end. So if that one was 19, I'm going to round that up to 20. This one is 14.2. And this one is 16.3. So 15 to 20 miles an hour winds is what is forecast in the next 72 hours. And on here, what was it? Where was it? Over here, it said in the next 48 hours, 70% chance of becoming a tropical depression. Within the next 5 days, 90%. So we're not at 5 days yet. We are at 1, 2, 3. So let's see within 4 days what it's looking like on the model right now, and see if this changes. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, so this thing is going into absolute nothingness. Never mind. We're not going to follow this anymore. Is this even the right one? No, this is Ella. Why am I following Ella? I want to watch the one... Yeah, I was just doing a whole forecast on the wrong storm. Well, that was a forecast for Ella. Not this storm. So if you're watching, you can feel free to comment laughs in the comment section. But anyways, when we get to LA, you've already seen the forecast. It's gonna be weakening a lot over the next couple days, which is good. That's good. This one will definitely be saved as a video, and I will probably put bloopers included or something. That was funny. Anyways, I was gonna forecast that one anyway, so it don't matter. Let's get to the actual storm I wanted to forecast. 23.0. Starting today. 23.0. This is why I'm not a professional meteorologist. This is why you gotta do your own research. I will guide you in complete circles. 26.5 low end, so 25 miles an hour. The high end forecast, 27.8. 27.8, 32 miles an hour. So this is the high end, so it's going to be going to 35. Still puts it at tropical depression strength if it does form. Let's go to 24 hours. 22.4. 25.8. So leave it at 25 miles an hour for the low end. For the high end, 35.5, and that's 40.9. Leave it at 40. So between 35 and 40 miles an hour, that is a high-end tropical depression or a low-end tropical storm if it does develop within the next 24 hours into a tropical cyclone. Within the next 48 hours, they gave it a 70% chance of developing. Let's see what the forecast is. From this point on, I will be referring to it as a tropical cyclone within the 48 hours and beyond, because it is very likely to be a tropical cyclone within the next 48 hours. Let me just back. Okay. The low end, 27.1. And that is 31.2. Lower that to 30 miles an hour. That would be a tropical depression. 48 on the high end forecast, 36.1. 36.1. That's 41.5. Raise that to 45. So again, tropical depression or tropical storm within the next 48 hours. The National Hurricane Center says it's likely to be a tropical depression. So we're going to go with that. Most likely a tropical depression within the next 48 hours. And within 72 hours, let's take a look. Alright, go to the low end forecast, 50.1. That is 57.7. So lower that to 55. So at the very least, within 72 hours, it will be a tropical storm. Within 72 hours, at the very most, or what is forecast as the high end, it may change with the next forecast and maybe much more, maybe a little less. We'll have to check back with that and see. Do your own research. Go to his website at the end of this video and check with the updated forecast to see. I might even do it at the end of this video if I have time. 72 hours from now, the highest maximum wind speed, 66.5. Let's go there, 66.5. That would be 76.5. It's the high end, so raise it to 80. So a tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane within the next 72 hours is likely just southwest of Central America. Let's go to 96 hours. On the low end, 75.8 knots. And that will be 87.2 miles an hour. It's the low end, so lower to 85 miles an hour on the low end. Still out to sea. That's good. Going to the high end forecast, 103.1, 103.1, 118. It's the high end, so raise it to 120. That puts it at a Category 3 hurricane. So between a Category 1 and a Category 3 hurricane, so probably going to be in between, probably a Category 2 or a high-end Category 2. It could be a low-end Category 3. Probably a high-end Category 2 or a low-end Category 3 is what's likely within the next 96 hours. Very powerful storm, but still forecasted to be out to sea. If you have any comments, leave it in the comment section. I'm going to pull up Google Maps because we're going to be approaching land soon, and I want to name these countries appropriately. I'm probably going to destroy some of these names if I can't recognize it, but I should be able to pronounce them. Let's go into the low-end forecast and go now 120 hours from now. 120 hours from now, 91.5. 91.5, 105.3 is the low end forecast. So lower that to 105. 105 mile per hour system would put us at a Category 2 hurricane. So at minimum, based on this forecast now, within 120 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it should be a 105 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane at the minimum. With their forecast, within 5 days, they give it a 90% chance of development because of this. So likely to be a powerful hurricane within that time. Now let's look at the high end, 121.9. 21.9. That puts us at 140.3. So 140.3 puts us at a Category 4 hurricane. That is a very powerful hurricane. In a Category 4 hurricane, in a major hurricane, you are likely to see major damage, and catastrophic damage is definitely not ruled out in a storm like that. Fortunately, within 120 hours, it shows it's still off to sea. Tropical storm force winds may just be starting to come into this area. Let me see, what country is that on Google Maps? Let me zoom out to the Eastern Pacific. Let's see. Is that Mexico? Yes, that is Mexico. So Mexico, this area here, let me go there, go back to Invest 90E. Right over here, tropical depression, tropical storm force winds. So within 120 hours, this part of Mexico will start to see, and within 120 hours, if this is correct, if you go on into it, I'm sure you'll see the tropical storm force winds coming in. But based off of what I have here on my phone with tropical depression, little or no damage is likely. Minor damage is possible, moderate damage is unlikely, major damage very unlikely, catastrophic damage extremely unlikely, as it's just coming towards the shoreline. But that may very well change, especially as it comes closer. We're going to take a look at that. Let's go to, again, if your officials are saying, if I'm saying little or no damage likely within 120 hours, as the winds just start to pick up, and your official is saying, no, it's going to be a major hurricane, go somewhere now, then do that. Do not follow my advice on that if that's what your official is saying. So coming closer to land, looks like it's weakening. Max wind 76.2 within 144 hours. What was it? 76.2? 76.2. 87.7 is the low end. Lower that to 85. That would put it still at a Category 1 hurricane, showing tropical depression and force winds coming in with the low end. With the high end, 103.7. 103.7. This is how you forecast storms. If you want to check, if you're going somewhere for vacation and you want to see what the weather is going to be like, this is how you do it on your own. If you're concerned about a storm or something like that. 119 is the high end, rounded up to 120. So 120 still puts us at a Category 3 hurricane. So between a Category 1 and a Category 3 hurricane, that's probably again going, 130? 120. Okay, so likely a high-end Category 2 or low-end Category 3 is possible. Probably a high-end Category 2 is what I would say based off this model. Again, it's likely to change, especially going as you go further in time. It's very likely to change. This one is showing tropical storm force winds starting to come into Mexico over here and here. With tropical storm force winds, minor damage is likely, moderate damage is possible. Major damage is not likely yet. Unless a storm comes in and that model changes, then you're going to see very major damage as these winds come in. But as of right now, tropical storm force winds over here, over to here in Mexico. But as what I would say is, because the model is likely to change, anywhere from here, this part of Mexico, down to here, which is, what country is that? Guatemala, and this little tip of El Salvador over here, need to watch because the model could change. The storm is showing the storm over here, but it could be over here, it could be over here, it could be anywhere in this map within 144 hours, theoretically. The model is saying it's going to be here, but the eye really could be anywhere, and those wind speeds along with it. So this area, whole area, needs to watch the storm for the potential of these major winds in the coming 144 hours. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days from now. Tropical storm force winds starting to come in. Within, 5 days, tropical storm force winds might just be beginning in Mexico. Within 144 hours, tropical storm force winds will be reaching these areas, the outer bands of the storm. Regardless of the wind speed, tropical cyclones do produce a lot of heavy rain, and any mountains that are here or low-lying areas are going to experience flooding, mudslides, and the like. Storm surge is definitely another thing that will be experienced as the water is being pushed inland over here. So flooding over here is definitely likely from that alone. So still a dangerous storm. Let's go into 168 hours. That's 7 days from now. At this point, the forecast is very, very likely to change. So we'll have to wait and see on this, but let's go on with it. 46.2, 53.2 miles an hour. So low end, so 50 miles an hour, just off the coast of Mexico. If this model changes and it has the storm a little bit stronger and has it a little bit more north, let's say from over here, instead of curving this way, it goes straight this way, then Mexico will get a big hit by this hurricane. So Mexico really needs to be on watch for this storm, and Guatemala as well. El Salvador should also watch the storm as a precaution as it comes through here. But anyways, let's do this. 59.4. 59.4. That puts us at 68.4, or high end, raise it up to 70 miles an hour. That would put it at a tropical storm. So still we see tropical storm force winds still in this part of Mexico. Over here, again, if the model shifts just a little bit further north or a little bit further east, then we might have big problems over here as the storm gets closer. And regardless, you're still going to have a lot of rain along this whole area. So flooding and mudslides is still very much at play. Also storm surge, rush seas, and rip currents if you're vacationing here and you're going to the beach. Rip currents is another big problem that you'll have with the storm. So all along here, you need to watch the storm. Even if it's not going to hit an area, rip currents from its influence is still very much at risk. Flooding in nearby areas from the storm surge is very much at risk, and the heavy rain that you'll get from the storm is also another thing at play. So, again, keep watch over the storm, especially in Mexico, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Now, this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in the future. I'm not going to go any further, or not in depth at least. I'm not going to check the wind speeds on it because it's very likely to change, but just for an idea of where it might go. And again, it's showing it going into Mexico. The wind speeds I wouldn't really trust yet because that's likely to change. And now it's going off the map. Okay, so we have a tropical just in review. Let's go over to here and let's see this as rain. Let's see what the rain's going to look like in this system. Heavy rain around the center as expected with any hurricane. Moving along here. Coming closer to land. Heavy rain just offshore. Heavy rain coming inland over here. Between Mexico and I believe Guatemala is right here. Yes, it is. And heavy rain coming in. Again, flooding still an issue with the storm as it goes over here. And even as it weakens, heavy rains will continue from the influence of the storm all the way up to here, down to here, all the way over to here. So lots and lots of rain from this system. Let's see MSLP and what's this? Precipitable water? We're not going to worry about that. Humidity. This is very important in forecasting the storm. More dry air equals weaker system. Moister air like this equals stronger system and equals higher chance for heavy rain. You see? High moisture. Over here is drier, so not likely to see rain from the system over here. But over here where you have a lot of moisture is very likely to see very heavy rain from the storm. Over here, very dry over here, not likely to see rain from it. But any areas over here, especially over here, are going to see heavy rain as a result of all that moisture in the atmosphere. We see some dry air get into the system, which is what begins it to weaken, and system then slowly dies out. But even as the system weakens, all this moisture is still here. So all that heavy rain is still going to be continuing long after the wind speeds start to die down. Let's check this one in review. Going through it pretty quickly because we went over it already. Storm strengthens, major hurricane, comes along the coastline, goes around, goes into Mexico a little bit before going back out. According to the forecast now, that might change. That's with the high end. Let's look at the low end. Tropical depression force winds, tropical storm force winds beginning, hurricane force winds beginning over here, coming close to the shoreline. The winds don't quite make it in, and it dies out before hitting Mexico. Again, even though the wind speeds are going to die out according to this forecast now, the updated forecast may be very different. So please stay updated and keep a close watch on the system. The rain is still going to be very much a big problem. Let's look at the let me back out. Actually, if I back out, I have access to more of these things. Let's see. 24-hour accumulated precip. So this is the rain that you get within a 24-hour period. See just how much rain to expect from this system. So, 24 inches of rain possible along the coastline of Mexico. Over here, we have between 2 to 6 inches of rain possible in the inland areas. We have half an inch to 2 inches of rain possible throughout this area. We have showers over here and light rain over here, with some pockets of heavier rain in some areas as a result of this storm. This going on for several hours in some areas. So flooding is definitely a problem with this storm. That's probably going to be the big story with the storm, if not the wind. If the wind stays offshore, the rain is still going to do a lot of damage. So please stay safe with the storm. It's still a very dangerous storm. Let's look at the... Is this... oh, that's surface pressure. We saw this one already. Let's see. Upper dynamic. Alright, let's look at the rotation of the system from this angle. As expected, with the tropical cyclone of this strength, very strong rotation. Stronger rotation, the stronger the storm. Just another bit of the model showing stronger winds. And as we can see here, the closer the bars, the stronger the winds and the stronger the storm. And this one shows the bars rotating well inland. Rotating storms, as they go inland, have the potential to produce tornadoes. So some of those thunderstorms that are going to be associated with the storm and the high level of rotation that's going to be reaching over land, it's definitely possible that you could see even a tornado or two in this area as that rotation comes inland and you have that strong rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if a tornado or two formed during this storm. Nonetheless, the rain itself is going to do plenty of damage. It's going to die out by then is what it's showing. That may change. This one we're not going to worry about. We sort of already saw that with the rotation. Where was the one I wanted to see? The cloud cover. So this shows the what the clouds will look like on the storm, or what it's simulated to look like on the system. Very broad system reaching all the way to here, all the way to here. You see some shear starting, it looks like, before it starts to die out. But even still, you see the thunderstorms lingering over these areas as the moisture gets pushed out. And yeah, that's the forecast for this potential tropical cyclone. Let me see if the National Hurricane Center has updated its forecast on it. Okay, yes it has. So now it says, I'm going to read, cloudiness and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located a few hundred miles south of El Salvador have become better organized this morning. If this development trend continues, advisories will be initiated later today. This system is forecasted to move slowly towards the west-northwest or northwest, remaining well offshore of the coast of Central America and southeastern Mexico through at least Thursday. If tropical cyclone formation does not occur, another special tropical weather outlook on the system will be issued by 9 p.m. tonight, PDT. So, within the next 48 hours, high chance 90% of development. Within 5 days, 90% of development. As it said here, it is very possible that a storm may develop by today. It may already be a tropical storm, and they may start issuing advisories on it later today. Probably by the 9 p.m. advisory is probably when we'll know if this thing is a tropical storm. So it may already be developing. And I think they said that it would be a, they didn't comment on if it would be if it would be a tropical depression or a tropical storm. So we'll have to wait and see. According to our forecast, I believe we saw a tropical storm. Let's take a look. Within the next, let's see, is the updated one, are we able to see? Yes, we are able to see a little bit. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but right now, let's see, within the next 40 hours, it's showing a tropical depression on here. And then, let's see if any change has occurred here. Still showing it stay offshore. That's good. Again, that might change. Well, let's hope that it doesn't change. Let's hope that if it does change, that it has it going further out to sea. So this storm hasn't really changed much in the way of its forecast. So that's good in terms of the likelihood of it occurring. This might change again later, so we'll have to see. Okay, so now let's move on to the Western Pacific, which I think we did already. Yes, let's check the Indian Ocean. Is there anything here that we need to keep watch over? Let's go here. And we need to watch up here, and down here, the general regions we want to check. So let's see. Rotation over here. It doesn't seem to really get well organized. no land over here anyway, so if it does develop, not really a threat to land. What was that? Let me go back. Actually, I'm going to leave it here. It's far enough into it. Rotation over here, possible, but it doesn't really show it developed as a tropical cyclone. The strongest possible system that I see here is right over here in terms of rotation. But I don't really see anything developing in this sea region. We might want to keep an eye on this potentially, but again, it's not showing it going towards land. So this area I'm not going to stay on any longer. Let's go on to the next area, which will be the Southwest Pacific. Going now. So we have two storms. We have this one and this one. This is the one I was forecasting earlier with that whole blooper thing. So no need to really go into that again. If anyone's in the comments, if anyone is here watching, oh, there's 3 people watching. If anyone's here, whoever's here, please leave a comment so I know who you are. And welcome. I don't know how long you've been here. I hope you're enjoying the forecast or getting something out of it. At the very least, it's informational, educational. Okay, so this storm over here, we're going to keep an eye on. Let me go there. I'm not going to worry about this storm over here because I already did that earlier. I believe this is Donna. Yes, Donna. Hello, Donna. Exit this. Go here. So, right now, let me go to the... Oh, this one doesn't have it. Okay, so 73.8. $84.9, low end, so 80 miles an hour, category 1 hurricane. If I go to the high end, 99.2. 99.2, 114, high end, raise it to 115. Tropical storm force winds. Let me go on my phone, Google Maps, see what these islands, what these areas are called. Actually, this area just had an earthquake earlier. I think, was it today or yesterday? So that's not too cool when you have a hurricane and a powerful earthquake at the same time. That's pretty rare. Let's see, where is that? It's over here. New Caledonia. So this side over here, these islands over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. New Caledonia facing tropical storm force winds, hurricane force winds, and let's see, 99.2 was 115. That puts it as a category 3 hurricane. So it's possible that major hurricane force winds are occurring in New Caledonia. And oh, hold on, let me turn off the mic because I think my mom's here for lunch. Okay, so I'm going to continue this forecast now. So New Caledonia and Vanuatu, I believe these islands here are from Vanuatu. They're facing tropical storm force winds. New Caledonia, these islands over here, are facing major hurricane force winds. The main island over here, tropical storm. Over here, strong tropical storm force winds. Over here, hurricane to major hurricane force winds. With major hurricane conditions, major damage is likely occurring with the storm right now in this area, with the storm surge and heavy winds. Major damage is likely happening right now. Catastrophic damage is possible in a storm like this. It's a Category 3 storm, so I would say it's more of it can't be ruled out that catastrophic damage is occurring, but most likely major damage is happening to a lot of communities over here. Over here, tropical storm force winds. We are likely seeing over there minor damage. Moderate damage is possible. Probably more along the lines of it can't be ruled out. Over here in Vanuatu, tropical storm force winds. Again, minor damage likely. Moderate damage is possible, more particularly with this island where the winds are a little bit stronger. This island, tropical storm force winds, strong tropical storm force winds. So, minor damage is very likely. Moderate damage is possible and likely, especially as these winds come over. Moderate to major damage is possible as the winds, if it maintains Category 3 status, going over this area. If it is Category 3, that's the high-end forecast. So, it may be facing Category 3 force winds, or at the very least, wind gusts, which in either case, major damage is likely in wind speeds of that magnitude. Let's go back to the low end and go 24 hours from now, and 38.7. 38.7. That will put us at 44.5. It's the low end, so round it down to 40 miles per hour. So 40 miles per hour is a tropical storm. And let's look at the high-end forecast. The high-end, 49.7. 49.7. That's 57.2. It's the high-end, so raise it to 60. Most of the tropical storm force winds within 24 hours, according to this, should have gone out to sea. There might be some tropical storm force winds affecting this island of New Caledonia. Am I pronouncing that right? New Caledonia. Within 24 hours. Some additional minor damage may occur there with the storm, but rapidly weakening over the next 24 hours. And then beyond that, in 48 hours, it will no longer be a tropical cyclone, and it will be well out to sea, not impacting land any further. So we're not going to talk about Ghana anymore. We're going to now go back to this region in the Southwest Pacific and see if there's anything else we need to worry about. We had forecast this little system here is going to continue to weaken over the next few days. It doesn't really seem to be a threat to land at this time. This system still poses a threat to New Caledonia and Vanuatu in this area here, so they still need to keep watch over the next 24 to 48 hours. If we continue, let's see if there's anything else that might develop over the next 2 weeks as we look at the rotation in the atmosphere. So as of right now, I'm not really seeing anything. Let me speed this up a little bit. Okay, so it seems after the storm, wait, what was that? Go back. Some rotation over here away from land, so if that is something small, not likely to impact land. But we'll have to see with that within about 2 weeks or so. So it seems like relatively most land areas here are safe within the next 2 weeks. Again, those models may change. There's an updated model that is going on now, so it may change already. But to be safe within the next, after these storms occur, within the next, besides this storm over here and this storm over here, within the next 72 hours, we shouldn't see any additional development. But that could change with the new model runs that are occurring right now, which aren't available yet. And the next region, that was all the regions that we have for today that we have seen. In review, we have a number of tropical systems going over here to the wonderground.com/hurricane. We have 90E, which is southwest of south of Mexico, west of Guatemala and El Salvador, and its main threat is towards Mexico and Guatemala. El Salvador should not let its guard down in case the model forecast changes. We have the potential of this storm becoming Category 3 or 4 hurricane, so definitely a very powerful system is possible. Let's look at storm details, see if there's anything available at this time. We can only look at the satellite view of it, which we'll take a look at. Has some strong convection there. As the National Hurricane Center put it, 90% chance of development within the next 48 hours, and it's possible that the storm may be named a tropical system within the next 24 hours. So that's definitely a storm we need to watch out for Mexico, Guatemala, and El Salvador. And this whole region over here needs to keep watch of this storm for the potential of a Category 3 or 4 hurricane developing and possibly coming very close to land. The next system we need to look out for, which we went over, there's two more systems that we went over. There's Tropical Cyclone Ella, which is going to die out very rapidly. Let's look at the storm details, see if there's anything available. 5-day forecast. So it is showing it going towards this way as a tropical storm, potentially going to these islands. So again, in an instance where my forecast shows that a storm may not develop, but the officials are saying a tropical storm will hit somewhere, follow their advice, not my forecast. I am using one model, the GFS model. The official meteorologists have access to many weather models that they use, so follow their advice over mine. Do your own research with this storm if you live in these areas. Going now back to the main screen over here. The other storm we have to look at is Tropical Cyclone Donna, which we had just forecast. They're saying that it's a Category 2. It will be a Category 1 within a few hours, and then a tropical storm as it heads out to sea. So strong winds still occurring in New Caledonia and some islands of southeastern Vanuatu, and the potential of additional damages possible with the storm as it goes out to sea. I will be posting an update on the storm in the next day or two on the Facebook page on the damage that the storm has caused as news articles start to be published on the effects of this storm. So those are the storms that we went over. Here is the wind map speed. We're going to see the areas what the wind speeds are now. Here is the system for Mexico. Here is the system by New Caledonia. And this is the other system that we're looking at. This is the strongest system that we have going right now. And then again, Mexico, Guatemala. Keep watch over this storm. It is looking to be a very powerful storm that may be impacting the area in the coming days. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them. If you like this video, you can like it and subscribe. If you're watching this later after it's been published, you can still leave a comment about any questions you have. And thank you for watching.